The Icelandic Eddas are the primary mythological repository of Northern Europe. They were written in Iceland about AD 1200, but the source material is mainly Nordic and Germanic. This mytho-astronomical presentation is condensed from my forthcoming book, Astral Aspects of the Eddas. This book consists of suggestions as to the placing in the sky of heavenly features alluded to in the Eddas. It offers an explanation of mythological lore in the light of actual celestial events. These events include the planets, the stars, constellations, precession of the equinoxes, solar and lunar zodiacs, retrograde movement or looping of the planets, conjunctions, eclipses, disappearances, novae, and comets, including a visit by Halley's. Some of these items will be presented here. In the interest of clarification, I would like to insert a brief explanation of certain concepts regarding the mythical heavens. The ecliptic is the apparent way of the sun among the constellations and is often referred to as golden in mythology. At and above the ecliptic is the realm of the gods and the sun. Below the ecliptic is the underworld, where the enemies of the gods, giants and monsters, dwell in darkness. All features rising in the east wield absolute power over those that are setting in the west, causing the latter untold indignations such as death, mutilation, or the assumption of their shapes and nature. Other concepts will be mentioned as needed. The principal celestial feature under consideration is the Ass of Yggdrasil, the famous Norse version of the Tree of Life. The name means the ass or tree of Odin, the chief deity of the Norse pantheon. I take this concept of a cosmic tree to refer to and mean the Milky Way in the heavens. This definition is the cornerstone, or literally the roof beam, of my celestial house of myth, that is Valhalla, the vault of heaven. Now I quote the Edda. "Where is the chief place or sanctuary of the gods?" asks Gangleri, the weary wayfarer. "It is by the Ass of Yggdrasil," replies the High One. The Edda continues, "The ass is the best and greatest of all trees. Its branches spread out over the whole world and stand over the heaven." The Milky Way fits this description perfectly. It spans the heavens from east to west, from equinox to equinox. It covers all the 9 orbits of the planets of the time and the firmament. And representing the power of the sun in summer, it spans the fertile seasons of the earth with all of their life-giving produce. The Edda continues, "The tree is held up by 3 roots. One is among the gods, one is among the hoarfrost giants. The 3rd root stands over Nibelheim, that is the foggy underworld. Need-hugger gnaws the roots beneath." We see here the stem of the tree and its roots. Need-hugger, the serpent mean-striker, applies well to Scorpius, who squats over the 2nd root of the tree. Serpens is here also, and fittingly so, as the roots of the tree are said to be plagued with innumerable vipers that no tongue can count. This allows for the plurality of kind principle, which permits any number of a kind to be applied to a single star or constellation. Here also is Hvergelmir, the huge well that I consider to be the gap in the Milky Way, enclosed by the J-loop of Scorpius, and to be the entry to the realm of Hel, the governess of the underworld. The Sumerians had their 2 soldiers of death, the scorpion men, guarding the gate to the underworld. The Golden Bridge Gjallarbrú suits the ecliptic in the zodiacal sector of Scorpio, which leads down to this world. This bridging concept is visually reinforced by the narrow band of Milky Way dust across the open J-hook of Scorpius and over the broad gap in the Milky Way. This gap represents the river Gjall, which runs to the underworld. Is probably the same feature as the river Styx of the ancient Greeks. I quote again, "Under the route that faces the hoarfrost giants is the spring of Mimir, Mimis Brunnur, wherein wisdom and understanding repose. Mimir is full of knowledge as he drinks from the spring. All-Father got a gulp of it and paid for it with his eye," unquote. All-Father is Odin. This is the region of wisdom and drink, and it applies almost too perfectly to the lore of the constellation Centaurus and the gap or coal sack in the Milky Way at its feet. This feature has been called the soaking springs of the Centaurs. In our Western astral mythology, here was also the abode of wisdom. Here reigned Chiron, who taught everybody everything there was to know in the arts and sciences and set the constellations. Here is Odin, mounted on Sleipnir, talking to the head of Mimir in his well. Going back up over the ecliptic, we have the third root, of which the Edda says, "The third root of the ass stands in heaven, and under that root is a very sacred spring, Urdarbrunnur, the spring of Urd or Urd, where the gods hold their court," unquote. This root seems to fit the blunt end of a branch of the Milky Way just above the Cauda serpens, the tail of the serpent, on the Scorpio-Sagittarius junction, well above the ecliptic, that is, in heaven. The Edda continues on the spring of Urd. From it issue the three sisters of fate, Urdur, Verdandi, and Skuld, past, present, and future. These maidens shape the lifespan of mankind, unquote. The Vered sisters are represented by Libra, the scales. Urd, the oldest of them, is Alpha Librae, sitting right on the ecliptic. The others are Beta and Sigma Librae, above and below the ecliptic. The first two of these, Alpha and Beta, were referred to by the early Euphratians as Belit, the Lady of Heaven. Here was the fall equinox. Here the harvest determined whether people survived or died. Here the souls were weighed in heaven. Here our fate was decided at birth and at death. One of the three Greek fates is shown holding a set of scales. Now we move up the ass and we find the eagle, called knowledgeable in the Edda, with a splendid hawk Vedurfalnir, weather spoiler, astride his beak between his eyes. That this description from the Edda represents Aquila and Altair is supported by an Arabic and a Persian term for Altair, the noble hawk of heaven.